Matthew O'Brien,
Jordan
life member
Papadopoulos.
and former president of the club and president of the association. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
What initially drew to the Trinners, and it was quite a while ago, and what's kept you here over all these years?
Wow, how long has it been? Probably 28 years since I first walked up that ramp just over to my left, over my left shoulder, for a rep cricket Mitchell Shield trial, and they were held at the Trinners. So played a season at Royal Rovers over at Doneth Reserve, played footy at Camel Park Junior Footy Club, and rep trials were here, and Royal Rovers folded the year after I started there. So kind of like the vibe down here. I think there was some pretty good cricketers in the under-12s at the Trinners that I saw in the rep trials, and I got along with them pretty well. And I think when they heard that Royal Rovers had folded, they were pretty keen to get me down. So waltzed up the ramp and been here for 28 years, which has been amazing. And I think that probably leads into why I've hung around, because pretty early on I made some really great mates through juniors, and then through the senior part of my career pretty early on. And like really some of my best mates, lifelong friends that I still have to this day, are people that I still play cricket with and that I played cricket with here. And I think that one of the great things is just the strong mentors that I've had, all the way through from under-12s with the coaches and the people around the club, all the way through to the people that are still here in 2024. So
28 years ago, what are some of the first memories you've got from back then?
First memories? We used to have some pretty epic battles at training in juniors. I think that was probably held me in good stead and guys at that age here, because we played other clubs, and if they had two teams in an age group, they would often sort of stack one team and then have another team that was a bit more of a development side, whereas we always seemed to take the view that we would split the teams and give both teams an opportunity. So I played junior cricket with guys like John Manley and Mick Manley and Mark Bowen and Lee Duncan, and on the other side we had the Andrew Lovett, Michael Pitto, the Johnsons, and it was just, we'd be side by side in the nets and just going hell for leather at our guys. We never mixed training very much, so it's not like we bowled to them, they bowled to us, because we didn't want them to work out sort of how to play us when we play them in a game. And I remember under 14s opening the batting, and Andrew Lovett, who played footy for Essendon, he was a point, and they hadn't mowed the grass. It was round one, and I've got a short ball, as I like to do, play a cut shot. Absolutely slaughtered this cut shot. It would have ended up about 80 metres on a day like today, and it went about 2 metres to Andy's left, so I've just called yes, and the ball pulled up about a metre in front of him. It went about 12 metres, and it just stopped in the grass, and the non-strikers called no, sent me back, and Andy's picked it up and thrown the stumps down. So that wasn't that much fun. But then later that game, when we were fielding, I think it might have been Michael Pitto, but hopefully they're seeing this video, but they've hit the ball over long on, and it's pulled up about 10 metres short of the boundary at the northern end here, and Shane Johnson had to tell them to stop running because we had 8 people trying to find this cricket ball and we couldn't locate it, and the batsmen just kept going. They ran I ran 7 this morning in the inclusion program. You asked me if anyone's ever run 7 at Hayes Park. They have. I said no, but literally it took us, we couldn't find it. And the ball, it went about 30 metres. It was, I'll never forget it. So when we turn up on a Thursday night and the ground's a bit long, I always think, geez, you guys know nothing. You haven't seen Hayes Park when it really hasn't been mowed. So,
or when it hasn't had grass either.
Or when it hasn't had
True.
grass. Yeah, true.
You've shared some special and memorable moments there that you've experienced at the club. But if we look across the whole 28 years,
yeah,
what would be, either the most special, or maybe one or two of the most special moments you've experienced at the club?
Or one or two. That's tough.
You pick.
Geez, I'd say on field. Obviously, the two flags. I think never won a premiership in juniors, and then to get that B grade flag, to get the club up to A grade was really special. And then obviously to win the A grade flag last year with a great bunch of mates, particularly Alex Pedalino, who I'd played cricket with for such a long time, to get that flag, another flag with him in A grade, I think was pretty amazing. I think like even a day like today was just incredible to see that. I think you might probably remember better than me, but we started that sort of all inclusion, all abilities program maybe 8 years ago.
Probably more.
10 years ago, I think. And sort of to see that really growing. I think today we had 12 volunteers from the club, all the way from the girls are playing, the junior girls, and then the junior boys, and then some senior players, and some veterans, and people don't even play on a Saturday or a Sunday for us coming down and being involved in that. I think that sort of just proves to me that the culture of the club has just continued to evolve and is still at that standard that really makes people want to be here. And I think that is, things like that are the reason that I think there's so many choices for sporting clubs. And even with cricket, you could look around. You could just drive down Bell Street and you'll pass probably 5 or 6 cricket clubs. But having things like that is what keeps people connected, I think. So
makes it worthwhile, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
You mentioned that A grade flag.
Yeah.
There was a moment there that I was watching it. We were at another ground playing, but we saw you go to the stumps and then embrace Al. What did that moment mean for you?
Yeah, something I'll never forget, to be honest. I think that I knew when I think they needed 6 off the last ball. We pretty much, with Marchie coming in, I think we pretty much had the game sewed up. So, and my only thought was I never got a stump from the first grand final. And they're so hard to win, you just never know when you're going to win the next one. So I knew it was Alex's last game, and really my thought was, all right, I need to get 2 stumps. I've got to get one for Alex and for me. Sorry for the other boys who missed out, but after 28 years, I wasn't letting the opportunity pass by. So and then that embrace with Ned and Al at that moment was pretty amazing. So
any traditions or rituals that either you or that at the club that sort of are important to you?
I do like a bit of a bowling machine hit before a game, so hopefully I'll sneak one in today. But I was talking to I think it was Lewis the other night actually, that sometimes when, and this will be no surprise to Carly, that sometimes I like to buy things, right? And she's good at keeping me. Like one time I wanted to buy a guitar, and she said, "Why don't you borrow my brother's for 2 weeks and see how many times you use it?" And I think I picked it up for about 30 seconds. I said, "Yeah, good idea." But it's funny. Like when I'm maybe not in great form, I like to just change something. So like the other week, I just went and bought a new grip, to put on, or like something like that. I said to Lewis, sometimes, in the past, sometimes it's been, buy a new pair of gloves, and it's $120 later. Whereas these days, I tend to just go for something a little bit smaller. Today I've got the Without Fear wristband on early. Got the new group last week. So for me, I don't sort of have one of those, I wear the same pair of socks or anything like that, but there are sort of periods where I'm like, all right, maybe my new pair of shoes, or maybe I'll change my cap this week, or whatever it is, but nothing too funny.
You shared a couple of things around the inclusion program that you felt set our club apart and make it different. Is there anything else that you wanted to share around that at all?
Yeah, one of the things I love about our club is, yes, we all love cricket, but like I said before, it's more that you can play cricket anywhere, really. I mean, if you want to play the game, there's almost unlimited options as to where you do that. And for me, I think about how many people at our club have been here for such a long time, you know, through juniors all the way through. And even like someone like yourself who played for a long time, was away from the club for, you know, maybe a decade, and then to come back in and just feel like you never left, you know, and it's like seeing long lost family. And so the thing that I love is that it's almost like the cricket is second, although it's not, because we all want to win, and we want to win flags and all that sort of thing. But the culture and the things we do in the community, and making sure that the environment that we create for the people that are here, whether you're a player or a child or a sister or a brother or a supporter or an umpire, is that we want you to come here and have the best experience that you can, and feel like you're part of something. And you know, when you combine that with some really good cricket, like,
Makes it pretty special.
what else can you do? So that's something I'm super proud of, and just amazing to see that. I feel like, you know, I've walked on the shoulders of giants with, you know, the McAlpines and the Hydes, and, you know, Darren Wright and the Russos and the Steeles, who, you know, brought our club through that period of time. And then, you know, this sort of our era who have taken the mantle, but there's constantly people stepping up to take on roles. And so I hope that for those people, or the parents of the really young juniors at the moment, that they recognise that it does, for something like this to continue to succeed, it needs those people to keep coming in and being the new people to sort of drive it forward and adapt. So we've got something special here, and I just hope those people, you know, they're here for a reason and they realise it, and they're happy to contribute to it, so we can see it going forward.
My uncle lives in
Absolutely. And so finally, the 100-year milestone we're celebrating in a couple of weeks' time. In another 28 years, when we're here chatting, we've celebrated a few reunions along the way. What do you see or envision? You know, what do you want the legacy to be that you come back to and see here at the club?
I think I'd just like to see it retain the things that make it special and that are sort of long lasting. So, and that's really culture and a family, and, you know, not being afraid to invest in things that make the experience better. I guess what I hope to see is that the things that we've been doing as a club, and the success that we've been able to have from a participation perspective and a diversity perspective, is that I hope that it kind of inspires some other cricket clubs and other sporting clubs to do the same. You know, so I'd hope that you know, in 20 years' time, I'd be not only just seeing a vibrant Holy Trinity, but also seeing other clubs being able to take some ideas from the things that we're doing, and hopefully that has a similar effect for them, so that because there's so much history. You talk about 100 years for us, but, you know, baseballs are celebrating their 90th year tonight, and you want to see that sort of legacy continue, not just for us, but for other sporting organisations. So hopefully we can inspire, you know, some other organisations in the Darebin community around us, and, you know, and they can be, you know, continue to thrive as well, because I think that's not only important for us, but, you know, for the local community.
Absolutely. Matthew O'Brien, thanks for joining us, and thanks for everything you've done for the club.
No problem. Thank you very much.